Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Knowledge Hub segment held in conjunction with MIHAS 2022. Thank you for those who are staying since this morning. Knowledge Hub is a platform for discourse and information sharing on matters related to export. This segment is among the three main components of MIHAS 2022, apart from exhibition and international sourcing program. Without further ado, I will please give a round of applause to all our panelists for today. We are happy to have with us Mr. Azhar Hussin, Executive Director, Deloitte Consulting, Malaysia. Please welcome all the way from US, Mr. Paulo, National Grocery Buyer from Tawa Supermarket, USA. And I'm happy to introduce Mr. Faisal, Managing Director, Tanamera Tropical Spa Sdn Bhd. Okay, without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Azhar to moderate the session. Mr. Azhar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is my honor to moderate this session, a very important session. I know it's challenging. 1 to 2 o'clock is the most challenging time of the day. So hopefully we can stay focused and hopefully can get something out of this session. And also welcome to the people who basically logged online. So before I start, I know it's slightly late by 15 minutes, so hopefully we can cover this in an hour. Before we start, I would like to present some facts and figures. I think Dato' CEO mentioned about the focus. The three countries that basically provide the most export to Malaysia is US, EU, and Japan, that represent 5% of the export. And out of 25% of the export of the country is actually 13% or 34 billion US. Basically comes from US, and the top export category basically electrical, machinery, rubbers, as well as the vegetable fats and oil. And from a US halal market standpoint, it's actually valued at about 84 billion in 2022, and it's still growing at a CAGR of 5.4%. So I think it represents some sort of a very attractive market to go into US. And basically, that's the focus of the conversation today around market entry to US. And with us, we have two gentlemen. The first one is Paulo, National Grocery Buyer for Tawa Supermarket, based out of US. And I think we would like to thank you, Paul, for coming over. And I heard that you spent 30 hours from the door of your house to arrive to your hotel in KL. So that is not an easy thing. So thank you, Paul. We also have Encik Mohamad Faisal, who basically a founder and managing director of FA Herbs and Tanamera Tropical Spa. Thank you for your presence. Before we start, probably just a quick brief of your Tawa Supermarket, just to give us a flavor in terms of your presence and whatnot. Quick one, Paul.
Hello, everyone. That's my honor to be here. Yes, Taiwan Supermarket, the office space is in California, Los Angeles. Right now we have around 60 stores around the United States. We have around 50 stores in California, around 25 in Los Angeles area, and 15 in San Francisco Bay Area. And we have some in Seattle, Portland, Texas, and New York, New Jersey, and Boston. We are a private company, and most of our customer is Asian Oriental. And yes, we start carrying some halal food, and since a few years ago from Malaysia, yes. And most of our customer they are a kind of young generation, and they accept all the, they take all the healthy stuff from our market. Yes.
Thank you, Paul. So it seems that you are quite, the footing and the market presence in US is actually quite wide, quite huge.
Yes, kind of.
Well done, well done. Cik Faisal, tell us about your company, your product, services. Just probably take a few minutes.
Sure. Assalamualaikum. My name is Faisal. I'm representing two companies, FA Herbs and Tanamera Tropical Spa. FA Herbs, we do mostly OEM, contract manufacturing, product design, natural, internal, external product. We have clients from as crazy as Kak KM, yang sexy itu, and as big as Amway. For those who are familiar with Amway product, like the local life brand, like the postnatal, we manufacture, we design, we even help Amway to do the training. So we are one-stop center for manufacturing. At the same time, we also have our own brand, which was an accidental brand called Tanamera. And Tanamera actually focus on a premium natural personal care product. We are certified halal. We are also certified vegan and vegetarian in the UK. We are a natural products based on the Malay art of wellness. So we tend to target a lot more on the premium marketplace, organic stores, specialty stores, and that. So that is the focus on Tanamera. We are a small boutique brand, but from day one when we started, we always want to focus on export market, and that's where we are right now.
Thank you, Faisal. So Paul, first question, basically you mentioned just now that you have Asian products in your chain of grocery stores. As a role of a national grocery buyer that basically put more emphasis on quality and specifications and whatnot, can you just tell us what basically is your sourcing requirements for products to enter US and specifically to enter to Tawa supermarkets?
I think the most important factor is meet the FDA require first. That's the basic one. And for us, stable supply is the key factor. And since the pandemic, we found out this is very important for us. During the pandemic, we learned something. Without stable supply, it cannot do anything for that. Yeah. So for our company, stable supply, that's the key. And for government, with the FDA requirement, yes.
So apart from regulatory requirements, is there any other, it has to be like from a packaging, private labeling. Do you see that as a issue or challenges entering US or entering Tawa?
Not much. We have actually if we have faced this kind of problem, we have our department to talk to the supplier, ask them to change or teach them how to change the meet our standard.
Right.
But it's not very critical. But most of them is just meet the FDA will be fine.
Okay. So how do you assess suitability of product to enter Tawa Supermarket then? Because if you talk as an example, soy sauce, right? You have soy sauce from other countries as well. So how do you define which product is the right product for you?
Actually, it's hard to define which one is the right product for us. We got to try. We will ask the supplier work with us to try to do some promotion. We will try to import your item and sell your item first, and we will try to work together to promote your item in our store. Yes. So we cannot say your item is not good for our customer or something. Must be tried. Even a very experienced buyer, it cannot tell. Yes.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. Encik Faisal, I think the question for you is more related to your sharing your experience. What's the important ingredient for you to be successful in the market, whether it's domestic or export? What sort of things that has to be there, whether from a cost standpoint or from the processes standpoint, that you think is important for people to consider or for people to have in their company before they start exporting?
I think I think every country is different. Every country is different, and I think like what Paul was saying is true. Is that what we like here, it's not necessarily will be successful overseas. You know, I think that's what most of the speakers have been saying. You know, every country you just have to try to find the right keyword. But at the end of the day, one constant when it comes to any product in the market, I think the most important thing is quality. Because, you know, you can make the product as viral, especially now, especially in Malaysia, like everybody talk about product viral, you know, make it, because some artists use it, some very popular influencers started talking about it, so everybody wants to buy it. But the question is that after a person use it, the question is that would they want to buy it again? So this is where, no matter how good the marketing is, if the product is not good, nobody's going to buy it again. That's the honest truth. I mean, we all are consumers. If you buy something because everybody's talking about it, it's in every billboard, you definitely will be pushed to, you know, to be encouraged to try it. But if everything you hate about it, you know, like the taste, the smell, the texture, you just don't like it, there's no way you're going to buy again. So the hardest experience, I mean, for most brand owner, I think the hardest part is actually to get people to try it, especially if you're a new brand. Especially, I think, like Paul, you use mostly food product, right? You sell mostly food product. I think taste is extremely important. I was talking to somebody that they are also importing product to Germany, and what is our definition of spicy is completely different. For us, I mean, I have friends who cannot take lingam chili sauce because to them it's so spicy. You know, for I think most of us, lingam, do you carry lingam chili sauce? Yes. Yeah, that's very popular, right? Is by your user, is lingam chili sauce considered as spicy or very spicy? See, not spicy.
No, because it's normally bought by Asians, right?
Yeah, mostly are Asians,
even though
right?
it's in the US, yeah.
And my friend is Malaysian Chinese. It's completely useless. You know, so I think the main consistency, the constant has always to be quality. And I think if you want to start looking into export market, you have to have certification. That's extremely important. You have to have certification, awards, even the most basic thing like what we have, GMP, like halal. We started export to Japan, but unfortunately we started just before the pandemic, so our distributor was severely affected. I mean, we were severely affected. But when we did our exhibition in Japan, almost every visitor that came to our booth asked us one question: are you halal? And none of these people are Muslim. And to be very honest, they don't care whether it is suci, right? For the Malay, we say clean and proper and all that. The reason why they like halal is because it is a standard. And they associate halal with cleanliness. You know, and if you know Japanese, cleanliness is literally their religion. You know, it is one of the cleanest country, if not the cleanest country in the world. So certification is extremely important. It takes a lot of work, but if you want to go and be serious into the country, I think you do need to focus on that.
It's, I think in the morning we talked about digitalization and sustainability practices. Is that something that you already factored in or in the process of doing, it's already there? So around this sustainability and digitalization?
Two separate things.
Yeah.
Sustainability, yes. When Tanamera started, when we started the brand Tanamera, I mean, we were very idealistic, I guess. You know, we started the concept of Tanamera brand, I think more than 10 years ago. Tanamera is actually a new brand because we started it as a showcase for our contract manufacturing. 10, 15 years ago, we were telling people like, okay, this is where the future will be. The three tenets of Tanamera have always been human-friendly. That means every ingredient has to be safe. They have to be eco-friendly. If you are familiar with our product, it's all brown paper, non-bleached, fully recycled packaging material, and also minimal packaging. And also it's animal-friendly. We do not do any animal testing. We always tell people test it on directors and nephew and nieces. We test everything ourselves first before we even allow consumers to do it. So sustainability and even you're talking about now the new coin like circular economy have always been the tenets of Tanamera. So the second question was actually on digitalization. Oh yeah, sorry. But when we started, just to expand a bit on that, when if you look at Tanamera product, people were saying, how come your packaging look like nasi lemak? Look like bungkus belacan? Because we use brown paper. Everybody want to do beautiful white paper. We did brown. We did those, just like those. According to people, a lot of people think those type of brown paper are cheap. Actually, it's more expensive than virgin paper. But we started that concept, but now it's a big trend because people, especially after COVID, people are looking at sustainability. It's a serious coin word now. So the market have evolved, and the market, I think, have finally catch up with our concept. So on digitalization, to be very honest, Tanamera have always been a retail brand. We prefer being in a physical store. And we had a small digital presence, as in like online marketplace and all that. But when we started, when COVID happened, honestly, we were not prepared when it comes to our digitalization. We were still focused a lot on physical retail presence. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people think it's easy to switch. Like if you are a physical business, it's not as easy to change overnight to online business. And it's the same thing, if you are an online business, it's not easy for you to switch to become a physical business because the way we do things is completely different. And especially if you're talking about personal care, about food, because this is touch, feel, taste, smell, so it is not, you can have the most beautiful photo, but at the end of the day, it is still the physical taste that makes a difference. So during the pandemic, we were forced to take a very fast learning curve to go into online marketplace to actually even the way we advertise, doing online advertisement instead of the physical advertisement and all that. So, and we started growing our online business presence. And alhamdulillah, it's one of our fastest growing sector. It was a good thing in a way. It pushed us to actually be more flexible. But one other thing that we realized also, because all this while, the way we were doing our business, expansion overseas, is actually by attending B2B exhibitions. And this is Madrid. Alhamdulillah, Madrid have been the most amazing help, and I've known Cik Mus for, my God, I can't remember how long. I've known him since his hair was always been white. I've never remembered him otherwise. We met in Japan, and I think he was one of the best, if not the best TC we have ever dealt with. Because Cik Mus, if you can hear from the way he speaks, Cik Mus ni banyak berapi, right? He's very, very passionate. And that is not an act. That's the way he is. I've known him forever, and that's always been the way he is. So, and, but one thing we realized is that previously we used to do B2B exhibition and trying to find everywhere we went, we tried to find a distributor, a wholesaler. But I think the market now have changed because most country that, especially more developed country that we went to, they are not interested to become distributor for the product, but they're interested to carry your product. So what we have done, we have changed the way we do our focus on our internationalization. Is actually we are focusing now on setting up distribution centers. So we are an Amazon brand now. Spend a lot of money on that. That's cost a lot to be an Amazon brand, especially for personal care. The requirement for personal care is crazy. And something that a lot of people are not familiar with when it comes to personal care in US, a lot of people keep telling us, oh, you have to be FDA approved. No. In America, most regulation are self-regulated, right? They have their own regulation. You have to follow that. They're not going to audit you or anything like that. But they will audit you when you do something wrong. When you do something wrong, you are screwed.
So it's a self-discipline thing.
It is self-discipline. But if you want to be listed in Amazon, in the Amazon distribution warehousing and all that, or Amazon regulation is, if you ask me, is 100 times more strict than US FDA. Because personal care is very easy to send to the US. US is a very easy country to send product to, a very difficult country to sell to. You know, it's two different things.
Yeah.
So what we have done is that we have set up a US distribution center with Amazon. So next year, we will be going for an exhibition, inshallah. So the good thing is that when you go for an exhibition, just say like, I meet you at Paul, right? And then say, oh, I really like your soap. Can I order, but I want to try maybe in 5 of my shop. If previously I was in Malaysia, the shipping cost of maybe like 5 boxes of soap is going to be so expensive, you know, and it's not worth it for you, okay? But, hey, I'm already in the US now. So I said, okay, I want to try in 5 of my shop. I said, okay, tomorrow I'll send it to you. You get it tomorrow because my distribution is already in the US. So now we are much more geared to exhibit in the US because people will be able to get literally order and get it tomorrow. And this is our vision. We're going to set up more and more distribution center. We have signed in the UK. We are looking at Europe. We are looking at the Middle East. But we need fund lah. We need a lot of fund for something like this. It's not a cheap practice. So this is the modality I personally believe for future distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I learned from that statement is basically apart from, you know, vision, export and whatnot, the knowledge of the logistics is equally important in terms of the supply chain and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically one of the things that is important. So moving back to you, Paul, when you go and source your product, is sustainability friendly product is an important element when you source your product?
Yes, of course, the price, the quality, and the reputation, reliable good, those are very important for us. Besides that, building a trust relationship with our supplier is very, very important also. That's part of the reason we are here to meet our supplier. Yes. I embrace building a trust relationship between supplier and Taiwan. We are committed to provide our customer with the best quality product from our supplier. We are here to create a long-term business relationship, not a short-term profit.
So can you share, based on the last 6-12 months, what sort of latest trends in terms of the product that is coming into US and specifically coming into Tawa? What sort of products? You know, are you talking about more cosmetic products? Are you talking more food products? Are you talking pet products? What is it? What sort of new products that is coming over the past 6 to 12 months, per se?
I would say the snack product is coming a lot to US. Since the snack is always change, they change too fast.
Yes.
And so they come to, and there's, they move, they also sell very fast and move fast. That's why they come in a lot. But also the health the health item or the organic item, that's one of the chain we are sourcing from, yes. And this people in US, they tend to buy something more health for their family, and they don't care the price, even little bit more expensive. And yes, I think that's the change for US. And if something non-GMO or less salt, less oil, that's what they're looking for.
So more health-related, less oil, less salt sort of products, from a food standpoint. Yeah.
Yes.
So you told me you traveled 30 hours from US to here. Obviously, you have a specific targets in terms of the product that you want to source. So can you share with the room in terms of what sort of products that you will be looking at? Don't tell me you don't have any specific target. I'm pretty sure you do.
Yes.
So can you share with us what sort of products that you are looking at?
Yes, my boss told me. Actually, my boss told me to.
Is your boss here? No.
No.
Your
My
boss,
boss,
probably.
told
Your boss
me-
is probably online, huh? By the way.
Yes.
So you better say things that are
Yes.
politically correct.
No, actually, what we looking for snack.
Snack.
Yes, snack. All the snack product because it changed too fast.
So when you say snack means what?
Kind of chips and
Chips.
chips, cracker, or chocolate or something like that. Yes, and the hot pot stuff, the fish ball or something like that. That's what I'm looking for. And the most famous from Malaysia, Musang King, the durian product. Yes.
Musang King.
Yeah, that's what we sourcing. And also mooncake. That's my job. My boss.
Your
told me
personnel
to-
or your boss or
My
you?
boss told me
Oh,
to
okay.
find the mooncake. The mooncake, the OEM for the mooncake. Yes.
OEM supplier for mooncake.
Yes, that's my most important for this trip.
You have a few more days to fulfill that mission, so to speak. Cik Faisal, you talked about Datuk CEO and he's passionate in terms of exporting and whatnot. So how can we utilize Matrade more? And first is your experience with Matrade in helping. Number two is that if an organization out there wants to export more and more, how can we leverage on Matrade and how can we use them more?
I think one of the biggest mistakes, I've been doing this for quite a while, started when we were trying to get more business for FA Herbs, which is a contract manufacturing, till now we are shifting mostly to Tanamera as a brand. I think one of the biggest mistakes that potential exhibitors or potential exporters would do, even for us, this was a common mistake that we did initially, was actually not to be prepared before you go for the exhibition. A good example is that, just say if you're going to exhibit in Japan, for example, that's where I met Cik Mos. And most exhibitors will basically just say, okay, Matrade say this exhibition is during this period. So they will come to prepare for the booth, but not to prepare for the exhibition. Things that you have to consider, language speaking, translator, which Cik Mus was amazing because he literally prepared on the translator for us, and as soon as we arrived, we were greeted by all the his staff, his team. Sonoko was the person in charge, and we are still close with her after all these years. Sonoko-san is the person that basically is in charge of, the TC change every 5 years. Sonoko is constant. She's been there for, I think, about nearly 15 years or something like that. So so language, a translator is very, very important. And more importantly, is for you to reach out before you exhibit. And this is where the TC office is extremely important, and a lot of people do not use their service. And the TC office, like for example, we were looking at, wanted to exhibit in South America, but then, the pandemic happened. And we wrote into the TC office and said, okay, we want to do an exhibition in South America for focusing on natural beauty. So the TC office started, as soon as we emailed, started looking at the best exhibition and giving us report and which is the best exhibition that they think we should go to, and they will get the statistic, the data, and all that. And also then say, okay, we decide to, maybe we want to go into this exhibition. And then we will ask the TC office and say, can you look for potential client for us? So the TC office would actually do that and will email us all the contact person and all that. This would take some time. That's why 6 months before you go for your exhibition, you have to start working. Not like, a few days before you go for an exhibition. So, and what we do is that we would start sending out flyers that we're going to be exhibiting in here. We started emailing a bit of information about our company and all that. And then even in certain exhibition, you can allow invites. So started giving out invitation. So we are inviting people to come to our booth because it lessens the chance of failure when you do that. Okay, so, and this is where the role of Madrid is extremely important. Of course, like you ask most entrepreneurs, every time, like what Cik Moses was saying, every time we open the mouth, it's grant, grant, grant. We are very obsessed with grant. I mean, we all need grants. God knows we do need that. And we have been very blessed to have received quite a few grants from Madrid, alhamdulillah. But there are many ways on how we can actually leverage on Madrid. There are still ways on how I personally think Madrid can also improve and grow, like for example, in regard to regulatory issues, in regard to legal issues. This is something that I have proposed to Madrid before, and I've also proposed recently to SME Corp. Like when we want to go into export, trademark issue, legality issues, even like in our case, we actually had an experience for our trademark in Germany was contested by Porsche, the big car Porsche, because dia punya kereta kan nama Tanamera, right? And we are Tanamera. So even though we got the trademark in Germany, but when we wanted to trademark in EU, they contested it because they say, oh, later we might come out with Tanamera perfume. So then you're under the same category, I think category 7, 8 or something like that, under the international trademark. And so they contested it. They know they cannot win. So what they do is that they delay. And every delay will cost us at least about 15 to 20,000 euro. Yeah. We can't afford it. How are we going to fight Porsche? Who are we to fight, Porsche? They are huge. They are worth billions. And so they keep on delaying it. At the end of the day, we did try to reach out to get some help. From my IPO, even from Madrid and all that. But unfortunately, there's nobody who can help us. Maybe willing, but there is literally no allocation when it comes to issues like that. So Malaysian company literally have to fight alone, and we just can't fight. By right, this is a country issue. We are a Malaysian brand, a proudly Malaysian brand, and we do need support when it comes to regulatory, and that is a bit lacking. I'm not talking blaming Madrid or anything like that, but this is literally lacking in our export support structure. It doesn't exist. And I've been pushing this agenda for quite a while. And recently, the SME meeting with SME Corp, I was again pushing this agenda that we need to have one body that will advise us on legality and even to fight for us when, this is a clear-cut bullying by big brand over internationally. So that is how I think either Madrid or SME Corp hopefully can do something to help for future exporters.
Thanks for that. Hey, Paul, you mentioned about Asian products. You already have. This is basically. I was just thinking. Do you do marketing for new products on behalf of your stores, or is what sort of joint marketing that you do for products that is basically in your supermarket?
Yes, we do marketing for
New
our
products.
store, yes.
Okay.
And we have our own team to planning for that. And yes, when we, what we do is we will communicate with vendor or supplier, and we plan together and see which way is the best way for them to push out their product and in our supermarket. Yes.
Okay. All right. So thanks for the time. And I think in summary, Encik Faisal talks about the what knowledge is important to export, what sort of processes and what sort of things that Madrid can help. And Paul talks about the existing product, new product into US, and now we know that he's on a mission to look for crackers, fishball, frozen food, and durian.
And mooncake.
And mooncake,
Yeah,
which is
that's the most
very
important
important,
part,
which
yeah.
is in season right now. So I'm pretty sure you'll be carrying a lot of mooncakes on your way back to the US, because you can technically, buy it everywhere now. It's a season. So I'll open the floor for questions, and probably for people online who wants to basically ask questions, please do so. So I think this first question there, Encik Faisal, can you elaborate further on what you mean by becoming an Amazon brand? Are your products currently sold under the Amazon brand name?
No. That would be great if I can do that. Basically, you can, I might be wrong, but this is what my enabler, for when we decide to go into to supply of, to put our product in the Amazon distribution center, we got an enabler. We signed a contract with them. Basically, they were the one that helped us with all the registration. All the documentation was crazy, absolutely crazy. The amount of requirement for personal care is really, really tight. And if they have a status where you can literally sell anything on Amazon, but for you to be an Amazon brand, I mean, Tanamera is the master brand owner. So there are other people who can bring Tanamera product into the US, but we are the Amazon brand. That means we are the head honchola. That means the brand belongs to us. So for you to do that, there are certain steps, and also you have to have a trademark registered in the US, and we have to prove that we are the owner of the trademark. So there are extra steps that you have to take, which is quite tedious. I think it took my team, because we also have quite big SKU, even though we only registered about 25, but under personal care, we were a bit astounded by the amount of regulation that Amazon imposed on us, stricter to even some government regulatory when we want to export overseas. So the documentation was quite intensive.
So if I may ask, what's the driver? Why are you doing it?
US?
No, Amazon.
Oh, okay. Amazon is still the largest distribution network in the US, and they are still, I think they make up about what, 40% of retail in total, right? We're talking about offline, online, right? Yeah, I mean, 40% of America punya market, that is huge. There are also millions of products inside there. But of course, we also, we did three, Amazon, eBay, and Etsy. We registered all three at the same time, but the movement is mostly in Amazon. And recently we joined the Amazon Prime, the Prime Day, where it's like Alibaba also have that special one day again. 11/11, 11/11, right? 11/11 day. So Amazon Prime. So Amazon is, I think there's a lot of confidence when you are listed in Amazon. And not to mention, Amazon distribution is really fast, really efficient. They put up the order, sometime if you put up the order in the morning, you will literally get it in the afternoon or in the evening. You know, nobody can even come close to how efficient Amazon is. But with that being the largest retailer, I mean, they're really literally the largest retailer in the US, online, offline, they are also very difficult to deal with. I mean, we had really silly issues, like on, for example, on our expiry date, right? You know, Malaysia is like day, month, year, right? American is Monday, year. So when we submit, and we make sure all our product that we send to the US have a minimum of at least 18-month expiry period. I mean, we literally make fresh just for the US to distribute to the US. But somehow or other along the way, when the person who did the checking realized that it's like that we are not, you know, Monday year, and they thought that we're going to expire in 3 months' time.
That's right, yeah.
So automatically, our whole shipment was rejected. And when you're rejected, the amount of, because to them it's like their, you know, their decision is ultimate. So thank God our enabler were able to, I mean, the amount of email that went through just to prove that we are still within the allowed period, you know, of expiry and all that. I think it took them like nearly about 2-3 months to solve that simple issue, you know. So it is challenging. It is not easy. Whoever tell you that it is easy to go into Amazon, they are lying through their teeth. It is a lot of work, but hopefully, right now it's still not worth it for us. I mean, it costs a lot.
Yeah.
Hopefully, once we are able to start doing physical exhibition, I think that's where we can be different, can make a difference. Because one of the things, the market that we want to look at is actually the halal market in the US as one of the focus market. Because the halal market in the US, even though they have less than 2% population of America, they have a disposable income of in hundreds of billions, because most American in the US tend to be like middle upper business, middle upper society with income. Yep.
So the second question is related somehow to the regulations as well. The question is it hard to obtain US FDA approval? What is the best way to get it? So my answer to that, it's hard, but Amazon is harder.
Okay, depend on the product.
From what I'm hearing.
No, okay. Okay, this is from the perspective of personal care. Food, I'm not a food exporter, so I'm not familiar with it. But like what I said earlier, US FDA are mostly self-regulated. So as long as you comply to the label packaging, the label requirement, and you know there are ingredients that you are not allowed to have inside. Of course, like if you want to do a whitening product, you cannot have mercury inside, you know? And if somebody complain and they test and you found out they have mercury inside, you are as good as dead. The Americans, US FDA will come and attack you, literally attack you. I remember I had a briefing many years ago when I went to the States. I had a briefing by this old Jewish lady who was the head of the FDA regulatory, and she was very funny. She said, oh, in America, we trust you. We trust you, whatever you put on the label, you comply to the label. We tend to trust our commercial partners, like we are our commercial partners. But if you lie, you're as good as screwed. This is her exact word, you know, because we will come and we will destroy you. She actually said this, you know, to me, and we were like, we thought it was funny, but there's a lot of truth about it, you know, so don't get caught. So, but if you are doing, like, for example, Iron Medicare, that you have to go through US FDA. You know, if you are selling supplements, just say supplement for antioxidant for health, as long as you don't make a claim that it can cure cancer or it can heal this, heal that, and you have that statement, this claim have not been approved by US FDA, then dia dah lepas tangan lah, you know, then you're okay. Just, you have to know the labeling requirement and you have to be prepared. If you want to send product, like for example, food mostly, you have to make sure what is the allowable preservative system, right? And what is allowed, what is not allowed. So you have to be prepared in that. You have to follow that regulation. As long as you comply, it's no problem.
Any questions from the floor? There's a few other questions here, but any questions from the floor? That's why I said 1 to 2 o'clock is always difficult. Yes, Tuan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Good afternoon. My name is Coach Asri bin Nudin. I'm passionate to ask this question to Faisal. When we talk about intellectual property, i.e. trademark, it is always a challenge for us Malaysians to get ourselves protected internationally. Okay. So my question is, if we're going to propose a budget for next year, which agency should be helping you, taking concern what you face in Germany, to finance you in terms of advisory and finance for you to protect your brand internationally? Okay, that will be my first question. I wait for the answer first.
Oh, definitely Madrid. You know, sorry? Oh, that one, then you need a smarter man than me to answer lah. You know, I know because some people will mention about my IPO. But I think Madrid, because Madrid job, basically, Madrid main function is to encourage export. My IPO is basically to protect trademark, okay? And IP and all the stuff thing. Hey, old friend. Thank you. I think I personally think, I mean, whatever grant to, the one we can try to push. In fact, actually, I actually have proposed during the meeting with Che Rizal from SME Corp to actually see whether it will be, whether that's possible to one of the agenda to push. Because we cannot be serious talking about export when regulatory issue have nobody to help us out, you know? Because regulatory issue, I think you know, right? Regulatory issue in other countries is the biggest issue when you want to export out, because every country is unique. And sometimes when they talk about harmonization, I'm sorry, the only people who keep on talking about harmonization is Malaysia. You know, we are very gung-ho, right? Oh, harmonization, harmonization, harmonization. Product from other country, especially South Asian, can easily come into Malaysia because of our harmonization. But you try to go into Indonesia, good luck. You know, we are the only one that respect our own harmonization under the Asian group. And this is something that we have been bringing up for years, the double standard when it comes to us importing and exporting, especially for country, even Asian country, right? You know, so all these things, I can't see anybody better than Madrid. Whichever grant, I think that one, Cik Mus have to push lah. Who are we? We are just asking for money only. Not money, knowledge, asking for help. Yeah. So your second question?
Yeah, I just like to extend that. We here in the hall must shout, as what Dato' Mustafa mentioned just now, that the exporters want to be protected internationally in terms of the brand name. Thank you, sir, for your this thing. So whatever grant, it can be the so-called name grant is market development grant. It can be brand development grant, not the BDG that Market has last time, in terms of brand development and also protection. Okay, second question is open to both of you. I'm intrigued with the definition of fulfillment hub and distributorship. So from the perspective of US market, how can Malaysian exporters leverage on these two definitions, and whether it is similar, it is just a jargon between fulfillment hub and distributorship? Thank you. Two questions only.
Okay. You want to try to answer? Do you have a distribution? Do you have a, like for your brand, I mean for your manufacturing, do you import direct from the country, or like example like product from Malaysia?
So how do you get, let's say that if you successfully get a mooncake today, so how do you get the mooncake to your supermarket? Do you basically put it into distribution center? Because yours is more like trading in a way, but how do you do that?
Actually, we have couple distribution center. We have, as 99 Ranch Market, we have two park. Actually, one is for retail, one is for wholesale. The retail park we call 99 Ranch Market or Tawa. The wholesale park we call Walong Company Inc. As we got the item from import to US, we will discuss with Walong team first. This item is for retail or wholesale. If this item we decide for both, then we will just put it in Walong's distribution center, and we will share the inventory. We will distribute to our store. We have around 5 or 6 distribution centers. We have North California, we have South California, we have Texas, and New Jersey and New York. So we will ship it to the distribution center almost every week. So it's shipped to the store. Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is not yes or no answer, because it depends on product, it depends on geographical location, it depends on how you manage the whole logistics and supply chain. Unfortunately, our chairman is standing there already. So let me wrap up. Again, thank you for coming. I know it's hard 1 to 2 o'clock, but hopefully you gain something out of this session. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Chief Faisal, basically, for coming, and thank you online as well for attending. Okay.
Thank you. Join me to give a big round of applause to all the speakers and also moderators. Encik Azhar Hussin from Deloitte Consulting, Mr. Paulo from Tawa Group, and Mr. Faisal from Tanamera. Ladies and gentlemen, before we end our session today, I would like to request the audience to complete the feedback form. Kindly scan the QR code here, and then on the screen to obtain the feedback form. And then once you complete the form, you will receive your e-certificate. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take a short break now. There are some light refreshment outside, provide at the foyer outside. And then please join us again for the session 4, Meet the Expert from India at 2:45 p.m. With that, I thank you. You can still meet all the speakers and also panelists after the session. Thank you.